Welcome back. African Energy Week, or AEW, is the African Energy Chamber's annual event uniting African energy leaders, global investors and executives from across the public and private sector for 4 days of intense dialogue on the future of the African energy industry. An interactive conference, exhibition and networking event, AEW was established in 2021 under the premise to make energy poverty history by 2030, hosting panel discussions, investor forums, industry summits and of course one-on-one meeting opportunities, as well as driving the discussions that will reshape the trajectory of the continent's energy development. Now, to share more on the event and on the deliberations that have taken place today is NBC reporter Blanche Goreses. Blanche, thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening.
Blanche, would you be so kind to provide an overview of the discussions of day one at the African Energy Week?
Well, the conference or the Energy Week that is convening at a time whereby more than 600 million Africans are facing energy insecurity. Now, mind you, this is despite the fact that the continent does have resources that can be used or value added to those to produce energy or electricity in general. So this is what is actually underscoring most of the discussions before I get to the in-depth of the discussions or the details of the discussions itself. So the meeting or the Energy Week this year is very significant in the sense that it should be no longer as business as usual, because countries have learned from COVID-19 that they cannot industrialize without energy. Energy should be non-negotiable. So most of the stakeholders, and since it's a private sector driven event, private sector stakeholders or officials from across the continent are here just talking about how best they can leverage the use of natural resources, seeing that Africa doesn't lack when it comes to the sun, or solar energy, when it comes to wind energy and all the natural resources. So those are the emphasis of the discussions over the next 4 days. From Namibia, we do have NAMCOR, we do have Recon Africa, we do have all the smaller stakeholders within the energy sector and various industries within the sector represented here, just discussing the way forward. The question or the pertinent issue which our president came to put into perspective is, since Namibia being a signatory to the UN conventions calling on countries, namely the 2015 Paris Agreement, calling on countries to transition to cleaner energy or to reduce the carbon footprint at least by 2030. So Namibia recently discovering oil, and now alongside that is the ambitious green hydrogen program. And those were some of the questions that our president came to answer, supported by the Mines and Energy Minister, Tom Alwendo, as well as the green hydrogen members of the Green Hydrogen Council. So the argument, though the consensus here that I am getting, is that the two can coexist: energy produced through fossil fuels and energy produced through renewable energy sources. So those are the topical discussions ongoing. I just even had to step out from the Invest in Namibian Energy Sector panel discussion, whereby the country's policies regarding the sustainable energy mix are being dissected by various panelists, and then questions being taken by stakeholders and investors alike.
I think we get an understanding, Blanche, of the opportunities that are there for the energy sector in Namibia. I think we can gauge what those opportunities might be, but what are some of the challenges that Namibia faces within the energy sector, and are they being discussed at the event?
You see, energy industry itself is capital intensive, and Namibia being a upper middle income country, but at the same time doesn't have much of a capital when it comes to or doesn't even produce the the implements needed to produce energy in the first place. So capital is one issue, and then of course the skills part of it. That is why if you have followed throughout the development rather of the green hydrogen program, where government has really committed itself to tool Namibians through the awarding of scholarships for them to study in green hydrogen and the related fields, and lately also various companies within the sector offering scholarships to students to study in the oil and gas industries themselves. So the capital aspect, the skills aspect, and then all the other challenges, the minor challenges, those ones that are being discussed, which has to do with the policies, which has to do with the government bureaucracy, and which has to do with the licensing, and of course, with the involvement of the community, and at the same time respect to the rule of law. And that is why the president assured the conference earlier today that Namibia is a country governed through processes, systems, and institutions whereby it's not a one-man show, or it's not personality-based. And should there be challenges, then there are processes to be followed. And of course, the institutions such as the courts and various relevant institutions that deal, in this case, the Mines and Energy Ministry, in this case, NAMCOR, and all the industries, companies within that particular sector dealing with those. So the challenges are being discussed, but at the same time, the Namibian delegation is providing answers to those questions to the investors. And
could you highlight, Blanche, any innovative technologies or projects in the energy sector that Namibia is particularly interested or involved with?
Well, at the moment, the company that signed an agreement, we do have the Daures green hydrogen company that is now exhibiting here. And of course, there's another one. It's just that I cannot mention the prototype that they presented to the conference here because they want to do the big reveal themselves. But it's a company that is from Kunene, a small scale company that is involved in the production of renewable energy. They just also came to present a prototype for which they are looking for investors and will do a big reveal accordingly. That's just what they informed me. But other than that, there are Namibian companies exhibiting here, or companies operating in Namibia, such as Total Energies and others, Recon Energy, just to mention, but a few exhibiting here that are showcasing their products. So yes, that's from what I can pick up. That's what I can say at this point in time.
And any new opportunities for partnerships or investment in the Namibia energy industry that has emerged from the conference?
Well, right now, Nina, if I can tell you that Namibia has become or has drawn so much attention to itself because of its push for green hydrogen, and at the same time discovering oil and gas projects that have been ongoing. The president made reference to the Kudu gas and all the other projects that government sought in the past but has not been successful in this regard, stating the need for some of those to be revisited now that there's so much interest in Namibia's oil and gas industry altogether. So those are just some of the opportunities. But at the end of the 4 days or throughout the week, we will find out that what will be the actual interest. But right now, that's the hype around as to how the country wants to pursue green hydrogen and at the same time develop its oil and gas industries with the new program that's now around green hydrogen. And the Namibian delegation, I must mention, was quite specific when it comes to first African countries being off-takers of the products that it would be developing through the green hydrogen program and also through the oil and gas programs. So that's now another way of the continent not just exporting its raw material, but also adding value and trading amongst each other, as called for in Agenda 2063 of the African Union, that as well as the recently signed AFCFTA. So those are just some of the discussions. But I can tell you, Namibia is drawing, as small as it is, it's drawing all the attention because of right reasons, at least at this point.
Well, Blanche, we appreciate your time this evening. Thank you for speaking to us and giving us an update.
All right, then. Thank you so much.
That was NBC reporter Blanche Goreses speaking to us via Zoom all the way from Cape Town, South Africa. She is attending as part of the Namibian delegation, the Africa Energy Week conference currently underway in Cape Town. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us.